Welcome back to HD Old Coins 51. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of old HD coins, specifically the HD Old Coins 51 collection. These coins hold incredible history, unique designs, and stories from the past that every collector or enthusiast will want to hear. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just starting your coin collection journey, this video will explore the hidden details and value of these treasures. So grab a seat and let's uncover the history behind these remarkable coins together. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more rare coin discoveries. Top 1. In the year 1917, the world was in the midst of turbulent times. World War I raged across Europe, and the United States was caught in the throes of change. This was also a time of great innovation, especially in terms of coinage. The 1917 1-cent penny stands as a testament to the nation's resilience and its ability to adapt through challenging times. But what exactly makes this coin so special? And why does it capture the attention of both casual collectors and serious numismatists alike? Let's take a journey back to 1917. The United States was involved in World War I, and the economy was grappling with the consequences of the global conflict. The country's leadership was focused on mobilizing resources for war, and this included updating currency and coinage. The penny, which had already undergone significant changes in previous years, was due for yet another subtle but important update. The 1917 penny is part of a larger series of coins produced during a time of national transition. You see, in 1909, the U.S. Mint had introduced the first ever Lincoln cent to replace the Indian head penny, which had been in circulation for more than half a century. The Lincoln penny, designed by artist Victor David Brenner, featured a portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and two wheat ears on the reverse. This design was meant to honor the beloved president and symbolize the nation's agricultural roots. By the time the 1917 penny was minted, the Lincoln cent had been in circulation for 8 years. Yet, the design was not immune to the changing times. The U.S. Mint began to experiment with slight variations in the design to keep the coin fresh and relevant. For the 1917 penny, the reverse design underwent a subtle but significant change. While earlier years of the Lincoln penny featured wheat stalks that were uniform and evenly spaced, the 1917 version included more space between the stalks, making the design appear more open and airy. This minor alteration was not just a cosmetic change. It was a response to feedback from the public and the Mint's own desire to streamline the design. The slightly revised reverse symbolized a growing sense of modernity in the country. The nation was moving forward, facing the challenges of war and industrialization, and the coin reflected this shift in its subtle design changes. But the 1917 penny is not only notable for its design change. The year 1917 saw the coin being struck in two different mint facilities, Philadelphia and San Francisco. While the Philadelphia Mint produced the majority of the 1917 pennies, a smaller quantity was minted in San Francisco, which makes the 1917 penny a bit more rare and coveted by collectors. The production of the 1917 penny was also influenced by the overall atmosphere of the time. The United States was adjusting to the rigors of war, and there was a marked shift in the nation's focus toward industrial production. This meant that the U.S. Mint was operating under a slightly different set of priorities. The machinery, which had once been used to create smaller quantities of coins, was now being used to produce larger numbers of them to meet the growing demand for currency. What makes the 1917 penny especially valuable, beyond its historical context and design changes, is its appeal to collectors. Many factors contribute to its value, including the coin's rarity, condition, and unique characteristics. For example, the 1917 penny with a high-grade condition, meaning it has few or no signs of wear, is particularly sought after. Coins in mint state, often referred to as uncirculated, are more valuable than those that have been circulated, as they retain their original details and shine. Collectors also pay close attention to the specific mint marks. While the Philadelphia Mint did not use a mint mark, the San Francisco coins were stamped with an S. This small letter carries significant weight in the world of coin collecting, as it helps identify the coin's place of origin.
Hello.
The 1917 S penny is rarer than the 1917 Philadelphia penny,
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾ
which makes it
ਚਾਰ ਰਹਿ ਗਈਆਂ
particularly desirable for those who are keen on
ਮੈਂ
completing their
ਚਾਬੀ ਦਾ
collections
ਚਾਬੀ
or
ਤੋਂ
securing
ਸੁੱਟਣਾ
a
ਮੈਂ ਤੂੰ
piece of
ਗੱਡੀ ਗੁੱਡੀ
history.
ਸਟਾਰਟ
But how
ਕਰ
valuable is the 1917 penny today?
ਸੱਟ
Well,
ਜਾ
its value varies depending on factors such as its condition, mint mark, and rarity. A well-worn 1917 penny may be worth just a few dollars, but one in excellent or uncirculated condition can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. For example, a 1917 S penny in mint state condition can command prices upwards of $1,000 or more, especially if it is graded as
Hello.
proof-like or gem uncirculated. This is especially true for
ਬਸ
coins that have been
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾ
preserved in
ਚਾਰ
pristine
ਰਹਿ ਗਈਆਂ
condition, as they are harder to come by and
ਮੈਂ
represent
ਚਾਬੀ
a
ਦਾ ਚਾਬੀ
snapshot of
ਤੋਂ
the time
ਸੁੱਟਣਾ
when
ਮੈਂ
the
ਤੂੰ ਗੱਡੀ
penny was
ਗੁੱਡੀ
first
ਸਟਾਰਟ
minted.
ਕਰ
The value of the 1917 penny can also be influenced by the current state of the coin market. Just like any collectible, the demand for specific coins fluctuates, and this can affect the price. In times of economic uncertainty, such as during periods of inflation or market downturns, collectors often turn to tangible assets like rare coins as a way to hedge against risk. This has led to a steady demand for well-preserved examples of the 1917 penny. Additionally, the
Hello.
1917 penny is not just valuable because of its scarcity or
ਬਸ
condition. It
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾ
carries a
ਚਾਰ
deeper
ਰਹਿ ਗਈਆਂ
historical significance. The year
ਮੈਂ ਚਾਬੀ
1917
ਦਾ
was
ਚਾਬੀ
pivotal
ਤੋਂ
for the
ਸੁੱਟਣਾ
United
ਮੈਂ ਤੂੰ
States
ਗੱਡੀ
in
ਗੁੱਡੀ
many
ਸਟਾਰਟ
ways.
ਕਰ
It marked the country's official entry into World War I,
ਸੱਟ ਜਾ
a conflict that would shape global politics and
ਸੱਟਾਂ
economics for years to come. The war would also have a lasting impact on the U.S. Mint, as coin production shifted to accommodate the financial needs of the war effort. As we reflect on the value of the 1917 penny, it becomes clear that it is not merely a piece of currency from the past. It is a symbol of a nation in transition, one that was navigating the complexities of war, innovation, and change. The penny is a physical reminder of a time when the United States was evolving into a global superpower, and its coinage was
ਮੈਂ
evolving
ਚਾਬੀ ਦਾ
right
ਚਾਬੀ ਤੋਂ
alongside it.
ਸੁੱਟਣਾ ਮੈਂ ਤੂੰ
For
ਗੱਡੀ ਗੁੱਡੀ
collectors,
ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰ
owning a 1917 penny is about more than just possessing a rare object. It is about connecting with history in a tangible way. Whether you are an experienced numismatist or a beginner, the 1917 penny represents an opportunity to own a piece of American heritage, something that links you to the past in a very personal way. If you are lucky enough to find a 1917 penny in your collection or at a local coin shop, take a moment to appreciate the history that it represents. This humble
Hello.
coin, which circulated in the midst of a world war, remains a powerful
ਬਸ
symbol of resilience,
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾ ਚਾਰ ਰਹਿ
adaptability,
ਗਈਆਂ
and change. And as the years
ਮੈਂ
go by,
ਚਾਬੀ ਦਾ
its
ਚਾਬੀ
appeal
ਤੋਂ
to
ਸੁੱਟਣਾ ਮੈਂ
collectors
ਤੂੰ
will
ਗੱਡੀ
likely
ਗੁੱਡੀ
continue
ਸਟਾਰਟ
to
ਕਰ
grow, making it a valuable and cherished piece of American numismatic history. As we wrap up this exploration of the 1917 1-cent penny, it's important to remember that even the smallest and most seemingly ordinary coins have the power to tell fascinating stories. The 1917 penny may be small in size, but its historical significance and collector appeal make it one of the most interesting coins to study and own. So, the next time you come across one, whether in your
Hello.
collection or in your pocket, take a moment to reflect on the incredible history it
ਬਸ
represents
ਜਿਹੜਾ
and the
ਨਾ
lasting
ਚਾਰ ਰਹਿ
legacy
ਗਈਆਂ
of the year 1917. Top 2. The year 1960 was a turning point in history. The Cold War was intensifying, the civil rights movement was gaining momentum, and a new generation was coming of age. It was a time of optimism, change, and the dawn of a new era in American culture and politics. But amid all the global events, there was one thing that quietly made its mark on the day-to-day lives of Americans: the 1961 cent penny. Now, you might think of the penny as just another coin. Small, easy to overlook, and often discarded. However, if you dig deeper, you'll find that this particular penny is more than just a unit of currency. The 1960 penny holds a fascinating story, not only for collectors but also for anyone interested in the history and evolution of American coinage. Let's dive into that story, step by step, and uncover what makes this particular penny so intriguing. To truly appreciate the significance of the 1960 penny, we need to understand the context in which it was minted. By 1960, the United States had already seen several decades of change in its coinage, and the 1-cent piece was no exception. At the heart of these changes was a shift from older designs to more modern symbols of American pride and ideals. The 1950s had been a time of post-war prosperity, and the 1960s were poised to embrace the future with greater energy, innovation, and perhaps even a sense of uncertainty. In the 1950s, the United States Mint had been producing the Lincoln Memorial design on the reverse of the 1-cent piece. This design had been in circulation since 1959 and was meant to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It showed the Lincoln Memorial, an iconic symbol of national pride, on the reverse, with Lincoln's portrait gracing the obverse. By 1960, this design had become familiar and beloved, making it an enduring emblem of American history. However, something interesting happened in 1960. The U.S. Mint faced a dilemma. It needed to address certain issues related to the production of pennies. The United States was undergoing an economic shift, and the penny was becoming less valuable as inflation crept up. At the same time, the metal composition of the penny was also becoming a concern. The copper used in the penny was becoming more expensive, which prompted the mint to begin considering alternative materials. But for now, in 1960, the penny would continue to be made of copper, with slight variations in its design. In 1960, the U.S. Mint minted pennies in two distinct versions, the regular circulation version and a special proof version. The proof pennies, which were struck with a higher level of precision and care, were typically made for collectors and not intended for general circulation. These proof pennies, produced in smaller quantities, would become important for collectors, as they are often more detailed and flawless in their appearance compared to the pennies that went into regular circulation. But what really sets the 1960 penny apart, and why does it have such appeal for collectors? There are a couple of unique features that make the 1960 penny especially interesting. For one, the 1960 penny is notable for a curious minting anomaly: the presence of two different varieties of the 1960 penny. In 1960, the U.S. Mint struck pennies with two distinct die variations. The first is the normal 1960 penny, with no distinguishing features on the obverse or reverse, but the second variation, known as the 1960 double die obverse, has an important and rare error. On this coin, the date is doubled, meaning that the number 1960 appears as if it has been stamped twice, slightly out of alignment. This double die variety is perhaps the most sought-after version of the 1960 penny by collectors. The error is not incredibly obvious at first glance, but a keen eye can easily spot the doubling effect, especially on the numbers in the year 1960. For numismatists, errors like these are highly desirable because they represent rare mistakes in the minting process. Coins with such anomalies are often worth much more than their face value, and in the case of the 1960 double die penny, the value can be significant. Finding a 1960 double die penny in circulation is no easy feat, and the rarity of this coin only adds to its allure. While not all 1960 pennies exhibit this doubling error, those that do can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on their condition and grade. In fact, a high-grade 1960 double die penny in mint state has been known to sell for over $1,000 in auction, making it one of the more valuable pennies of the 20th century. Beyond the error variety, the 1960 penny also holds a special place in the broader history of American numismatics. The Lincoln Memorial design, which graced the reverse of the penny from 1959 until 2008, is one of the most iconic and long-lasting designs in American coinage history. For many people, the 1960 penny is the quintessential representation of the Lincoln cent, and it serves as a reminder of the legacy of one of America's most beloved presidents. The coin's appeal to collectors is also driven by its connection to the economic and political climate of the 1960s. The decade was marked by significant social change, from the civil rights movement to the space race and the growing influence of youth culture. As a symbol of the United States, the penny's design and minting history are intertwined with the larger story of American progress and transformation. While the 1960 penny may seem like a simple object, it's much more than just a coin. It is a piece of history that captures the essence of a particular time and place in the American experience. For collectors, the 1960 penny represents both a valuable addition to their collection and a window into a pivotal decade in American history. But how do you determine the value of a 1960 penny? Well, it all comes down to several key factors, including the condition of the coin, its rarity, and whether it's a standard 1960 penny or the more sought-after double-die variety. The condition of the coin is graded on a scale from poor to mint state, with coins in better condition being worth more. Additionally, the mint mark, if present, can also play a role in determining value. Pennies minted in Philadelphia do not have a mint mark, while those minted in Denver or San Francisco are marked with a D or S, respectively. For the average collector, the 1960 penny is a great starting point, as it offers a glimpse into the world of error coins and provides an opportunity to learn about the fascinating process behind coin production. The 1960 penny is not only valuable in terms of money, but also in terms of the story it tells about the evolution of American coinage. As we move through time and look at the changes in currency and coin designs, it's easy to overlook the importance of seemingly ordinary objects like the penny. But as we've seen, the 1960 penny has a special place in the history of American numismatics. Whether it's the rare double-die variety or the simple beauty of the Lincoln Memorial design, this coin carries with it a rich history that collectors and enthusiasts continue to appreciate. If you ever come across a 1960 penny in your change, take a moment to appreciate it. It's more than just a coin. It's a small, tangible connection to a transformative time in American history. And who knows, you might just have a rare 1960 double-die penny sitting in your collection, ready to surprise you with its value. So, the next time you hear the familiar sound of a penny dropping into your pocket, remember that even the smallest coin can carry a remarkable story, and the 1960 penny is one of those coins that truly deserves a second look. Top 3. The year 1961 was a pivotal one in American history. It was a time when the Cold War was reaching its peak, the space race was in full swing, and the nation was grappling with both social and political challenges. In the midst of this global tension and change, something seemingly small but significant was unfolding in the world of American currency. The 1961 1-cent penny. While it may seem like just another year in the long history of U.S. coinage, the 1961 penny is more than just a simple piece of metal. It's a symbol of a time when America was on the cusp of monumental changes, technological, social, and economic. And if you take a closer look, you'll find that this seemingly ordinary penny carries with it a fascinating story of design evolution, minting history, and collector appeal. Let's start by taking a look at the historical context of the 1961 penny. By this point, the United States had already seen several decades of evolution in its coin designs, and the penny was no exception. The penny, which had gone through various changes since its inception in the late 18th century, was becoming more than just a coin used for everyday transactions. It was becoming a symbol of American values, ideals, and the country's ever-changing cultural landscape. The penny had undergone a significant transformation in 1909 with the introduction of the Lincoln cent, designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner. This design featured the profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, marking the first time a U.S. coin had featured the likeness of a president. On the reverse, the penny featured 2 stalks of wheat, symbolizing the agricultural roots of the nation. This design remained in place for nearly 5 decades, until 1959, when the Lincoln Memorial design was introduced as a way to honor the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. By the time 1961 rolled around, the design of the Lincoln Memorial penny had become a staple of American coinage. The coin's reverse, showing the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., was iconic. The obverse featured a portrait of Lincoln that was as recognizable as the monument itself. The design was striking and symbolic of the nation's reverence for one of its greatest leaders. For collectors and citizens alike, the penny had become more than just currency. It was a lasting tribute to Abraham Lincoln's legacy. In 1961, the United States Mint continued to produce pennies with this familiar design, which would remain in circulation for decades. However, as the 1960s unfolded, the penny faced some challenges, particularly in terms of production and material costs. As the U.S. economy was evolving, the mint was also grappling with rising costs for copper, the metal used in the production of pennies. This led to changes in the metal composition of the penny in later years. But in 1961, the penny was still composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, making it a relatively heavy coin for its size. The 1961 penny was minted in large quantities across the country, with 3 different mint marks: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint, which produced the most coins, did not use a mint mark on its coins. The Denver Mint, however, placed a D mint mark on its pennies, while the San Francisco Mint used an S mint mark. The presence of these mint marks would later play a role in the value of the 1961 penny, especially when it came to collectors seeking rare variations or specific minting locations. The production of pennies in 1961 was also influenced by the general economic environment of the time. The United States was in the midst of an economic recovery following the recession of 1960, and the nation was experiencing a period of rapid growth. This period saw the expansion of consumer goods, increased industrial production, and a growing middle class. As more people were spending money, coins like the penny were in high demand. Yet, even as the penny was being produced in large quantities, its value in terms of purchasing power was diminishing due to inflation. At the time, a penny could still buy you a piece of candy or a newspaper, but its value was slowly decreasing with the changing economic landscape. For collectors, the 1961 penny presents an intriguing piece of numismatic history. While the coin may seem common to most people, it's far from ordinary in the eyes of coin enthusiasts. There are a few key factors that make the 1961 penny stand out and contribute to its appeal among collectors. First, let's talk about the condition of the coin. Like many other coins from this era, the 1961 penny is most commonly found in circulated condition. Coins that have been in circulation for decades tend to show signs of wear, such as scratches, dents, and discoloration. However, coins in higher grades, those that have been preserved with minimal wear, are more sought after and can command higher prices. A 1961 penny in uncirculated condition, with sharp details and no signs of wear, can be worth significantly more than a penny that has been through years of circulation. Of course, the mint mark plays an important role in determining the value of the coin as well. While the majority of 1961 pennies were minted in Philadelphia, those with the D mint mark from the Denver Mint and the S mint mark from the San Francisco Mint are rarer. In particular, the 1961 S penny is more difficult to find in high grades, making it particularly valuable for collectors looking to complete their sets. A well-preserved 1961 S penny in mint state condition could fetch anywhere from $50 to $100 or more at auction, depending on its specific grade. Another factor that contributes to the value of the 1961 penny is the presence of any notable errors or variations. Though there are no major errors associated with the 1961 penny in the same way there are with some other years, collectors still pay attention to small details that could indicate a unique die or variation. For example, slight doubling or misalignment in the design can increase a coin's appeal to error coin enthusiasts. These small imperfections, though often overlooked by the average person, can significantly increase the value of the coin. Now, let's talk about the broader appeal of the 1961 penny and why it continues to captivate collectors today. For many, the 1961 penny is a connection to a time in American history that is often romanticized. The post-war boom, the optimism of the 1960s, and the early days of the space race. Collecting coins like the 1961 penny is more than just about the money. It's about preserving a piece of history. The coin itself is a tangible reminder of an era when America was on the cusp of monumental change, both at home and abroad. The 1961 penny also holds sentimental value for many people, as it was a coin that was in circulation during their youth or the youth of their parents. In fact, the penny often serves as an entry point for new collectors. It's a coin that many people remember from their childhood, or that they may have encountered in their change growing up. Because of this connection to personal history, the 1961 penny holds a special place in the hearts of collectors and enthusiasts. As we reflect on the significance of the 1961 penny, we can see that its value is not only measured in terms of its metal content or even its rarity. It is a coin that carries with it a deeper meaning, representing a moment in time when the United States was forging its path into the modern era. Whether you're an experienced numismatist or a beginner, the 1961 penny is a valuable piece of American history that is sure to captivate anyone who appreciates the beauty and significance of U.S. coinage. In conclusion, the 1961 1-cent penny may seem like a small, simple object, but it is much more than that. It is a reflection of a time when America was undergoing significant changes, both socially and economically. Whether you're drawn to it because of its design, its rarity, or the history it represents, the 1961 penny is a coin that continues to hold value, both literally and figuratively, more than 6 decades after it was first minted. And as the years go by, its appeal to collectors will only continue to grow, ensuring that this humble penny remains a beloved piece of American numismatic history. So, the next time you come across a 1961 penny, take a moment to appreciate its history, its story, and its enduring value. Top 4. The year 1964 was one of transition and optimism in the United States. The nation was in the midst of the post-World War II boom, with rapid economic growth and an explosion of consumer culture. The social and political landscape was evolving as the civil rights movement gained momentum and the space race with the Soviet Union reached a critical point. But amidst all this, the 1964 one-cent penny quietly continued its journey through American pockets, serving as a symbol of daily life for millions of Americans. While pennies are often overlooked in the grand scheme of history, the 1964 penny holds a special place in the story of U.S. coinage. In many ways, it marks the final year of an era for the penny. It was the last year that the United States Mint produced pennies with a 90% copper composition, making the 1964 penny a unique and valuable piece for collectors today. But beyond its composition, the 1964 penny tells a larger story about the country's economic climate, its design evolution, and the way small coins like these hold a mirror to the American experience. To truly appreciate the 1964 penny, it's essential to look at the historical context of the time. The early 1960s was a period of tremendous social change in the United States. President John F. Kennedy was leading the nation through a time of optimism and progress, with the goal of landing a man on the moon by the end of the decade. At home, the country was grappling with issues of racial equality, poverty, and the ongoing threat of the Cold War. The events of 1964, including the passage of the Civil Rights Act, marked a turning point in the country's journey toward greater inclusivity and justice. But in the world of coinage, 1964 was also a year of significant change. The 1964 penny, just like other coins of the era, reflected the economic realities of the time. For many years, pennies had been made with a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving them a distinct color and weight. However, rising copper prices during the early 1960s prompted the U.S. Mint to reconsider its approach to penny production. While the 1964 penny still featured this traditional copper composition, it would be the last year before the Mint transitioned to a new formula in 1965. Starting in 1965, the penny would be made of a copper-plated zinc composition, which is still in use today. The 1964 penny is instantly recognizable to most collectors and casual observers alike. On the obverse, you'll find the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner. This design had been in circulation since 1909, when the Lincoln cent was first introduced. The portrait of Lincoln, which faces right, is framed by the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." At the bottom of the obverse, the year of mintage, 1964, is inscribed, marking this as one of the last pennies to be struck with the original copper composition. On the reverse of the 1964 penny, we see the Lincoln Memorial, which had been part of the design since 1959, when it replaced the iconic wheat ears that had appeared on the reverse since 1909. The Lincoln Memorial was chosen as a tribute to Abraham Lincoln's legacy, symbolizing the nation's enduring respect for the 16th president. The reverse design also includes the inscriptions "United States of America," "E Pluribus Unum," and "1 cent," which tell you everything you need to know about the coin's origin and value. The coin's design is simple yet powerful, and its symbolism resonates with anyone familiar with the history of the United States. But while the design remains constant, there are still interesting nuances to explore when it comes to the 1964 penny's minting and appeal. In 1964, the U.S. Mint produced pennies at multiple facilities across the country. The Philadelphia Mint, which did not use a mint mark, produced the majority of the 1964 pennies, while the Denver Mint struck pennies with the D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint struck proof coins with the S mint mark. The majority of collectors today focus on the pennies with the D and S mint marks, as these are rarer than the standard Philadelphia strikes. However, All 1964 pennies, regardless of mint mark, are fairly common and easy to find in circulation. However, despite the relatively high mintage numbers for the 1964 penny, there is a particular rarity that has added to the coin's intrigue among collectors, the 1964 double die obverse penny. While this error is not as pronounced or famous as other coin errors, such as the 1955 double die or the 1972 double die, it is still sought after by collectors. The double die obverse error occurs when a coin is struck multiple times by a die, resulting in slightly doubled images of the letters and numbers on the obverse side. In the case of the 1964 penny, this error can sometimes be seen in the inscriptions "Liberty" or "In God We Trust," where the letters appear slightly out of alignment. These errors are rare, and depending on their condition, they can command a premium over the standard 1964 pennies. Beyond the error varieties, the 1964 penny remains highly sought after by collectors for several reasons. First, it represents the end of an era in U.S. coinage. After 1964, the penny's composition would be altered to reduce the amount of copper used, making the 1964 penny one of the last true copper pennies ever minted. This historical significance, combined with its status as the last penny of the pre-1965 copper era, makes it a valuable piece for collectors who are focused on the history of American currency. The 1964 penny is also notable for its connection to the broader historical context of the 1960s. It was struck during a time of tremendous change in the United States, when the country was grappling with issues of civil rights, economic expansion, and global competition. In many ways, the 1964 penny symbolizes a nation at a crossroads, moving forward into the modern era while still holding on to its traditions. For collectors, it is not just a coin, but a tangible piece of history that reflects the values, struggles, and triumphs of the era. So, how much is the 1964 penny worth today? Well, it depends on a few factors, including the coin's condition, mint mark, and any errors it might have. In general, the 1964 penny is still relatively inexpensive, especially in lower grades. A common, circulated 1964 penny from the Philadelphia Mint is worth just 1 cent, and even pennies from the Denver or San Francisco mints are typically worth only a few cents in worn condition. However, as with many coins, the value increases with the coin's grade. A 1964 penny in uncirculated condition can be worth several dollars, especially if it is graded as a gem coin with sharp, well-defined features and minimal signs of wear. For collectors who are focused on obtaining coins in pristine condition, a 1964 penny in mint state could fetch anywhere from $5 to $20, depending on its specific grade and market demand. Of course, as with any coin, the price can fluctuate based on current trends in the numismatic market, and collectors should always consult with a trusted dealer or auction house for the most up-to-date pricing. If you happen to find a 1964 double die obverse penny in your collection or in your change, that's a different story altogether. Depending on the severity of the doubling error and the coin's overall condition, a 1964 double die penny could be worth hundreds of dollars, making it a highly prized find among collectors. As always, condition is key in determining a coin's value, and the rarer the error, the higher the price it can command. For collectors and enthusiasts, the 1964 penny represents more than just a small piece of currency. It's a symbol of a defining moment in American history, a time when the nation was transitioning into a new era of progress and change. It's a coin that embodies the ideals of the United States while reflecting the challenges and triumphs of the time. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a beginner, the 1964 penny is a coin that is both historically significant and highly collectible. In conclusion, the 1964 penny is a fascinating piece of American numismatic history. Its design, its composition, and its place in the larger story of U.S. coinage make it an essential part of any collection. Whether you're collecting for its historical value, its rarity, or simply because it's a piece of the past, the 1964 penny is a coin that will continue to capture the imagination of collectors for years to come. So, the next time you find one of these small, copper coins in your pocket or your collection, take a moment to appreciate the story it tells. It's more than just a penny, it's a piece of history. Top 5. The year 1967 was a year of monumental shifts and moments of change in the United States. It was a time defined by the ongoing Vietnam War, the rise of the counterculture movement, and significant advancements in science and technology. The Summer of Love was in full swing, as young people across the nation sought to redefine values and push back against traditional societal norms. Amid all this, a small copper coin, the 1967 1-cent penny, played its part in American life, quietly passing through millions of hands, embodying the spirit of an evolving nation. At first glance, the 1967 penny might seem like just another coin, part of the everyday transactions that keep a country running. Yet, to the keen eye of a numismatist or history enthusiast, it represents much more. It's a piece of a unique moment in time, minted during a transitional phase in U.S. coinage that was directly tied to larger global and domestic economic trends. Understanding this penny in its full historical and numismatic context opens up a world of fascinating stories, from the changing designs and minting processes to the reasons it's so beloved by collectors today. To begin our journey into the story of the 1967 penny, it's essential to understand the broader context of the mid-1960s. The United States Mint, tasked with producing billions of coins annually to meet the nation's demand, was operating under unique circumstances. Due to a nationwide coin shortage that began in the early 1960s, sparked in part by a surge in hoarding of silver coins, the mint was stretched thin. By the mid-1960s, the U.S. government responded with several measures to address the issue, one of which directly impacted coins like the 1967 penny. A key measure was the suspension of mint marks from 1965 through 1967. For collectors, mint marks had always been an important indicator of where a coin was produced: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. However, to streamline production and discourage hoarding, mint marks were omitted from all coins minted during these years. This means that number 1967 pennies carry the familiar D or S mint marks, creating a uniformity that distinguished coins of this period from those minted in other years. The design of the 1967 penny followed the well-established format of the Lincoln cent, which had been introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. On the obverse, or front, of the coin, we see the familiar profile of Lincoln, facing right. This iconic image, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, had become a symbol of American currency, enduring for decades with only slight modifications. Surrounding Lincoln's profile are the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year 1967, prominently placed at the bottom. The reverse side of the coin features the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to replace the earlier wheat ears motif. Created by Frank Gasparo, this depiction of the Lincoln Memorial serves as a reminder of the profound legacy of Abraham Lincoln and the ideals he represented. At the center of the reverse, the words "1 cent" are boldly inscribed, with "United States of America" and "E pluribus unum" framing the design. The intricate details of the memorial, including the faint image of Lincoln's statue visible between the columns, make this coin a masterpiece of miniaturized design. The composition of the 1967 penny also holds historical significance. Like other pennies of the era, it was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving it the reddish-brown hue that distinguishes copper coins. This composition had been in use since 1864, but by the 1960s, rising copper prices began to put pressure on the mint to explore alternative materials. While the copper composition would remain unchanged for another decade, coins like the 1967 penny are part of the last chapters in the long story of the traditional copper penny. One of the unique aspects of the 1967 penny is its role in a year without proof sets. During this time, the U.S. Mint temporarily replaced traditional proof sets with what were called special mint sets, SMS. These sets were produced at the San Francisco Mint, but lacked mint marks due to the aforementioned suspension. The 1967 SMS pennies are distinct from regular circulation strikes because of their higher quality and more refined finish, making them particularly appealing to collectors. These coins often exhibit sharper details and a more lustrous appearance than their circulation counterparts. For collectors, condition plays a significant role in the value and appeal of the 1967 penny. Circulated examples are common and typically worth only face value, given the high mintage numbers. However, uncirculated coins, especially those with vibrant, red, copper surfaces free of tarnish command a premium. Coins from the 1967 special mint sets are especially prized for their enhanced quality, with higher grades fetching significant sums in the numismatic market. Moreover, error coins from 1967 add another layer of intrigue for collectors. While no major errors are widely associated with the 1967 penny, smaller varieties, such as minor doubling in the lettering or off-center strikes, can occasionally be found. These errors, though rare, can significantly increase the coin's value and are highly sought after by error coin enthusiasts. The value of a 1967 penny depends on its condition and rarity. Circulated pennies typically remain at face value, but uncirculated examples can range from $1 to $10, depending on their grade. Special mint set pennies in gem condition can fetch higher prices, sometimes exceeding $25 to $50. Error coins, depending on the severity and uniqueness of the error, can be worth hundreds of dollars or more. For many collectors, the 1967 penny is more than just a coin. It's a time capsule from a pivotal era in American history. It's a tangible connection to the transformative years of the 1960s, a time of cultural revolution, political upheaval, and remarkable progress. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a casual collector, the 1967 penny offers a fascinating glimpse into the past, reminding us of the enduring significance of even the smallest pieces of history. As we reflect on the story of the 1967 penny, it becomes clear that this coin is much more than its face value. It's a symbol of resilience and innovation, a product of a nation grappling with change, and a piece of art that continues to inspire collectors and history enthusiasts alike. So, the next time you come across a 1967 penny in your collection or your pocket, take a moment to appreciate its rich history and the stories it carries. It's not just a coin. It's a piece of American heritage,